Alright, good morning everyone. So it's a really nice day today. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a nice talk later on about the big cats. So I'm hoping that the weather stays as it is. But for this morning, just while I'm introducing, we've got Belayan up there, our orangutan. So just while I'm introducing what I'm going to be doing today, we're going to be talking about dinosaurs. So dinosaurs is an exhibit that we've got here, but I wouldn't go as far as saying that we're experts. So I've just prepared a little talk for you. I'm probably not going to be answering too many questions, to be honest. I'll try and get to those in the text below, because like I said, I don't want to give you wrong answers or anything like that. So just to start off with, a lot of people ask why we've got dinosaurs. So they have become a big part of the national curriculum. And obviously part of what we do is a big education facility, and as we've got on the signs here, in the last 2,400 million years, we've seen about 24 different extinction events, so mass extinctions. We talk about 6 of the main ones here. There's one which is actually going on at the moment, which is being caused by us as people, and what we do is we try and teach people about these other 5 most catastrophic ones, just so that we don't make those mistakes again. So that is why we've got dinosaurs here. Other than that, obviously they're great fun. We love having them here, and they are just a really nice educational tool. If we can't learn about extinctions, we're not going to learn from our mistakes. Right, so good morning Leanne and Taylor. Hi Jackson, Sophie, hi Chloe and Holly. So we've got the Triceratops here. It's the first main one that we get to that most people know. So Triceratops is, it literally means 3-horned face. So it's easy to see where that name comes from. And we've got them down here. They do travel as a herd. Well, did travel as a herd. Morning, Owen. And we know from that fact that a scene like this, where you've got some babies and a mum fending off predators, would very much have been likely in those days. So a lot of what we know about dinosaurs we do get from studying animals today. So we're going to head up. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about every dinosaur we've got. I've just prepared a few little bits for you that I personally find interesting. But anything else that you want to know, I will try and get to in the text below. Hi Lily. Hi Owen. Right, so here we've got probably one of the most famous dinosaur species ever. So that's the T-Rex, the Tyrant King. So we've got, that is probably one of the most famous carnivores of all time. There's not many people who don't know what a T-Rex is. And what made them so successful is that a lot of people think that actually they weren't particularly good hunters. That a lot of what they did was eat carrion, and they actually also cannibalized. So a scene like we've got here would have been probably fairly unlikely. So a lot of crocodiles also, they might look after the young for a few days or so, but after that they leave, and certainly the females will fend off males, because male crocodiles, just like the T-Rex, will sometimes cannibalize young. So I've got a few little props to show you in a little while. So I'm just going to go sort of a little bit back on myself to see what we've got here as velociraptors. So something that we have learnt a lot over the last certainly the last few years, is that where we've got dinosaurs like this, which all have smooth skin, that wasn't always the case, and most dinosaurs actually had feathers. So the velociraptor, that's these guys here. So this is what most of us are led to believe that they looked like, and what sort of size they were. Hi Adam and Gemma. Hi Amelia and Lenny. Right, so because this is what they look like in Hollywood. So these are Hollywood raptors. In reality, raptors probably looked more like this. So covered in feathers, and they were much smaller as well. So they're probably only about, at the most, as high as me at the waist. But nevertheless, everything we know about how they hunted probably was correct, and they were very, very, very successful hunters. Now, what we see in the Hollywood films, so for example Jurassic Park is the main example, were more than likely not raptors, but these guys, Deinonychus. So Deinonychus, very similar species, but they look much more imposing. They were much bigger, brilliant predators. But Deinonychus is a bit more of a mouthful than Velociraptor. I think Velociraptor just looks sounds cool. These guys look cool, so they combined the two, and that has caused a lot of confusion over the years. But Deinonychus, they did feed on these guys here, so iguanodons. They were herbivore, and we made sure to have these in our park because they're quite special to our area. So the iguanodon, so they were, well, the name comes from literally iguana tooth, just because their teeth are similar to those of an iguana, just much larger. But they were actually discovered, well, there's a bit of sort of argument about where they were discovered. The original first teeth were supposedly discovered in Sussex, and then combined with a jaw fragment. That jaw fragment wasn't actually from an iguanodon, but then the first more complete iguanodon was discovered in Maidstone. So that's why we've got these here. They are quite special to the area of Kent, and whether they were first discovered here or not, the main big sort of skeleton which was found did come from Maidstone. So Maidstone in the 40s actually honoured this by adding an iguanodon to their crest of arms. And like I said, Deinonychus, they would have actually fed on these guys. Right, another interesting thing is, so you see on the hooves, so that on the feet they would have had this horn. So when it was first discovered, that horn was actually taken off the foot and put on the end of the nose in the first reconstructions, because they didn't think that it should have been a toe. And I think when it was found, it had sort of one of his arms up by its face. Right, so I just want to show you a few little things just to try and put the dinosaurs into perspective with what we've got here, the modern animals. So we were talking about velociraptors and Deinonychus. So what I've got, so if you just bear with me, So yeah, so that's correct. So the dinosaurs, when we first got, like I said, the T-Rex is by far the most famous dinosaur, but there are sort of much bigger carnivores and herbivores as well now. So we have the Diplodocus down there, who for many years was thought to be one of the biggest, but Argentinosaurus, and that was discovered not that long ago, and they were found to be nearly twice as long. Right, sorry. So in here we have a Velociraptor claw. So that's the bottom one here. So that's from the Velociraptor. This is from the Deinonychus. So you can see that how much smaller the raptors were. So when you see in Jurassic Park again with the claw, where they're holding it, that was very, very unlikely to be from a Velociraptor. But to put that into perspective as well, here we've got a T-Rex claw. And actually they're not that much bigger. So if you compare that little guy there to this one here, you can see that actually, just like in modern animals, the claws were designed to match what the animal was doing. So Deinonychus, big claw for the size of the animal, that was used for jumping on animals, holding onto the skin and ripping. So much the same as we do today with lions. So to compare, this is a tiger. So this is a tiger claw. So these are all replicas, by the way. So this is a replica tiger claw, much smaller, but you can see that it's a very similar sort of shape because they're designed for the same sort of purpose. These ones here, they were just designed to probably more for traction and not so much for hunting. So they would stand on their prey or hold their prey in place if they're just eating something that they'd found that was already dead. And that's where you come in with looking at the teeth instead. So if we're looking at today's apex predators, so this is a replica tiger tooth. So you got that much sticks up. So it's about the same size as my thumb. And then the bottom part here is the root. So if you compare that to a T-Rex tooth on the other hand, now you can see where all of their hunting skills come in. It's not so much from holding on to their prey, it's from biting into it. So they had a bite force of about 13,000 pounds per square inch. Whereas today the highest is crocodiles. So crocodiles have got a bite force of 5,000. So if you imagine that compared to a crocodile, crocodiles are pretty impressive with their 5,000 pounds per square inch. But there you see, so with that sort of size root and that sort of size tooth, so this is how much tooth would have been showing. They were clearly designed for holding on to their prey and potentially suffocating, like some lions do with their antelope. They'll go round to the front of the neck. But also an animal which combined the two, so big claws and teeth, they combined them into one. So this is from a Smilodon or a saber-toothed cat. So they had these big canines which came down, and even compared to a T-Rex tooth, they're probably nearly the same sort of size of it that was actually on display. Right, so now that we've learnt a little bit about the carnivores, I'll head over to this guy here. So this is one of the more famous dinosaurs, obviously. So it's the Stegosaurus. So they were a herbivore. So at the front of their mouth they didn't have any teeth. The teeth are back here, because they were just for chewing on grass, whereas the lips were for trying to pick up bits of grass and things like that. Oh, another interesting thing which I've just remembered about the iguanodon is that they actually had teeth on the inside of their cheeks as well, so inside here. So as they were chewing on really, really tough grass, that would help chew it up there. So what they're most famous for is these plates on their backs. So there's a lot of debate about what they were for. Some people, they say that they were for armor, but if you think of so they didn't have T-Rex where they come from, but I think where these were from you had possibly Allosaurus or so. They would come round those big jaws and get down into the stomach and the chest cavity, and these really wouldn't do an awful lot to help protect you. So what other people say is that they were either used to attract a mate, or some sort of territorial display, or to make them look bigger. And one of the most common ones is that they were used to thermoregulate. So it was thought that they were cold-blooded, and that if you had capillaries really close to the surface here, much like you have in elephant ears, that they help you either cool down or heat up. And then the most interesting part about these for me is that not that that's the armor, but let's say you have got a big predator like a T-Rex or so holding on to you there. You have these at the tail end. So if you imagine this, and you've got someone holding on to you there, this tail can spin round, and if you have a look at the, for example, the Spinosaurus there, if you've got your head in the way of this, or your neck, that will definitely protect you. So I think this is where their armor comes from, and that was more likely something to do with thermoregulation or displays. Right, so what I'm going to do now, because that's my talk done, that's about as much as I know. I do know a little bit about dinosaurs just because they do interest me. I think like most blokes from a young age, you are interested in dinosaurs. Well, actually, one other thing which I've got, which you might find interesting, is obviously if you know the story of Jurassic Park, you know that they extract the DNA from amber, so bugs in amber, which is this stuff here. So this is sap from trees. Just where my thumb is there is a bug in there, and there's another one down here. And a lot of people have asked me, and this is something which I have researched before, is Jurassic Park really possible? And the answer which most scientists give is no. So even though it is preserved in there, the DNA of the dinosaurs, it's only preserved for so long. Because it is biological tissue, it does break down after a while. So you might have seen some documentaries about people who are trying to bring back the mammoth, and again, the trouble which they're having with that and the gene sequencing is that even in ice, a lot of the genetic tissue does degrade after a while. Well, so I'm going to see if I can answer a few of the questions, so might bear with me while I go back through a few of them. And I'm sorry if I missed anyone for a shout out. I'll give you a shout out in the text. Like I said, this isn't my speciality, so I have been trying to concentrate quite hard. So I've purposely not been looking too much at the text. So where we are at the moment in the park is, someone asked the other day where what we're doing, where the prairie dogs were. So this is where the prairie dogs were. So actually where I am now is where the micro pigs used to be, and the prairie dogs used to be down there. So we've got the cheetahs over there behind Spinosaurus. You've got the play area right in front of me there, and then the giraffe and orangutan house. So this walkway is actually not for people, that is a walkway for orangutans. Right at the start of the video, if you go back to that, you might see Belayan, one of our orangutans. He was in there, and that connects his garden there to his house over there. So he has the right hand side of that building at the end there. So hi Laura and Lizzie, Rachel. Hope everything's alright in North Wales at the moment. I've only had the chance to be up there once. Really nice area of the country. So what I know about dinosaurs is literally just what I've picked up out of my own interest. That's why I don't know an awful lot about these guys and this one over here, and if I'm going to be completely honest, I would have to go over to them and read the name signs. Hi Billy, hope you have a nice birthday tomorrow. Hi Wolf. Hi Casey Ann. Hi Alfie and Lucy. So hopefully you've enjoyed the dinosaurs. Like I said, it's not been a massive talk because I don't want to give you information that's not correct. Hi Sammy. I'm not going to try and make something up for you on the spot. I don't know enough to be able to tell you a little bit about everyone. But we do have a really nice mixture of dinosaurs here from all different so we have different diets, different parts of the world, from different era. And like I said, the reason why we have it is to show you a little bit about what happens when mass extinctions do happen, that we are going through one at the moment, and that we do need to learn from these sort of past events. So in the past, all of the events that have happened have been because of natural events. So ice ages, flooding, changes in the atmosphere, volcanoes and asteroids, those sorts of things. The one which we're going through at the moment, this mass extinction, is happening because of us. It's the first time that that's happened, that a single species is causing a mass extinction event. Hi Logan. Hi Joe and Emily. So we'll be doing the big cat talk at 2 o'clock today, so join us for that. I will be joined by Sarah. So she's our head of cats, well, head of carnivores. You might have seen her the other day when we did the talk with the bears. She does a really nice talk. Hi Evie and Scarlett. So is there anything else that someone might want to know about the animals, about dinosaurs that I've just spoken about? I'll try and answer any questions, but like I said, I don't know how far I'll actually get. Hi Finley. There's Spinosaurus. And it's very strange in the sort of, I think it's around the Victorian era. there's a very strange culture around dinosaur hunting. They were like the new gold. Especially museums, they would pay big money for new dinosaur exhibits. Hi Mason, Callum. So a lot of people, they would, if they found let's say for example the first T-Rex, and then they found 2 or 3 more in the same quarry, quite often they would actually blow up those fossils so that no one else can find them. Or you had other people who would blow up other people's finds, and it really was a nasty time. Everyone's in it for the same thing, well it should be, and they want to educate people about what used to be. But no, it was very, very money driven. So I used to call that the Bone Wars, a bit like the Clone Wars. But yeah. Hi Millie. Right, so it looks like there aren't too many questions, which to be honest I am relieved about. So I don't know enough to be able to answer a lot of questions or so. But next time you come, do have a look around the exhibit and have a look at the signs. There's a lot of interesting signs there. So there was I can't remember the name of the extinction event, but it was about 66 million years ago, where I think it was about 75% of life on Earth ended, and that included the dinosaurs. So that was pretty much the end of the dinosaurs there. But things like some of the crocodiles and turtles, and tortoises, they did survive. So what we'll do, actually, we'll finish, rather than just saying hello here, I will say hello, say goodbye. I'm going to say goodbye in the tortoises with Ted. I know people wanted a TED talk. I haven't prepared a TED talk, but we can see Ted. Oh yeah, there he is. He's right here. So let's have a closer look. Oh, so we're going to see the tortoises now. So it was very unlikely that a T-Rex mum would look after the baby, possibly for a few days, if we're going to base it on crocodiles, for example. But it has been shown that T-Rex was a cannibalistic species. So I think it's probably unlikely. So there's quite a lot of things in the Jurassic Park films, and don't get me wrong, I love the Jurassic Park films. They are what got me and a lot of people into dinosaurs. But there's obviously, it's Hollywood, so things are exaggerated a little bit. Hi George. So if you have a look at, I think there's a post which I put on last night that should have the link to the Amazon wish list on there for anyone who wants it. We've been getting such a good response on that, so again I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has given stuff to us from the Amazon wish list or sent us a donation in one way or another. It's all helping us out. So if you're worried about how much we're getting, we are, everything that we're getting is being used, and it is helping. So we do appreciate every single penny. Oh, you don't like the top of your head being touched, do you, mate? What was the first dinosaur ever discovered? I wouldn't have a clue, I'm afraid. So that is a question I don't know. But unless someone else in the chat knows, keep an eye on the chat. I will go and research that for you. Just because I want to know as well now. I can tell you that the first footprints on Earth were discovered to have come from about 550 million years ago. So if that's an interesting fact to keep you going. So that's when they were first recorded. He does love a chin rub. So this is Ted. The females, they're not big fans. So they are much more shy, but Ted here is absolutely lovely. So there are species much like Ted that would have been alive with the dinosaurs and that did survive the the last of big extinction for the dinosaurs. And if not necessarily terrestrial ones, certainly things like the leatherback turtles, they did survive. So thank you, Chelsea. So that's the answer to the question earlier. So Megalosaurus was the first ever dinosaur discovered. So thanks for sharing that. So we've got Sophie, let us know that as well. What's my favourite dinosaur? I would say probably Spinosaurus, and that is purely just because they look really cool, and I really like them in the Jurassic Park film. So I've got no reason other than I think they're cool. So thank you, Chelsea. There's even more information there. So discovered in 1819 and named in 1824. That's the Megalosaurus. I knew I could count on some of you. He does love having his chin rubbed, and then we do also, especially in the winter, we do give him a nice oil on the rub, on the oil rub on the shell, just to keep that nice and stop it getting brittle. How do they feel? So they're very, very dry and crunchy. It's the best way to describe it. Like old leather, I'd say is what he feels like. And I don't have a least favourite dinosaur, to be honest. And I don't have a least favourite animal either. Nothing I can think of. Hi Tom. What oil do we use? We just use, it's just a vegetable oil. So it's nothing special. So it's just something organic. That's just used literally just to keep him nice and to stop the shell going brittle or anything like that. They don't need an awful lot, but also they do enjoy it. So it's just a nice thing to do for them, and it's a nice way to keep them clean. And because they enjoy having it sort of rubbed into their shell, they stay still for you, and it's a nice way for us to be able to have a good look over them. Because if they don't want to be looked at, you'll be amazed at how quickly they can get away from you. Hi Aries. So the penguins, we won't see a feed for those today. I'll try and maybe do another penguin feed later on, another day, maybe next week. So if you look back through our videos, we did have a talk about the penguins the other day. A lot of people want to see them playing with some bubbles because they do like bubbles. So we have got some bubbles on the way, and as soon as they come, we'll be doing a penguin bubble bonanza video as well. Right. So yeah, so they can feel their shell, that they do know what's going on. I don't know whether it's necessarily they know exactly where we're touching, but I don't know if it's the reverberations that go through. They do know when their shell's being touched. And also if they damage their shell, they have got, on the underside is basically their rib cage. They do feel pain through it as well. So when you see people that used to drill holes in their shells and things, that really wasn't a great thing to do at all. When people thought that it was completely harmless, it probably did hurt the tortoises a lot. They are prone to getting infections and things as well. So how thick is this shell? So it is thick. So the only place where I can tell you how thick it is, so there or here, these scoots. So these individual plates are called scoots. So here, so probably about an inch thick around the neck. So to give them a lot of nice protection around there. Hi George and Scarlett. So yeah, we've got the big cat talk at 2 o'clock, so don't miss that. How old is he? I can't remember his exact age, but I think he's about 8 or 9. So he's still young, really young. He's still going to get at least double that size, possibly up to 3 times the size he is now. So at the moment he's just over 80 kilos. We did get a baby bear video. Yeah, if you go look back through our feed, or the easier place to find it might be on our YouTube channel. You'll see it there. Right, so what I'm going to do is say goodbye for now. And then I'll get everything ready later on for the big cat talk. Hopefully you'll all join us again then. And if you've got any other questions, like for example how long Ted here is going to live, I'm going to go back to the office a little bit later on and I will answer all of those for you. But for now I do need to pop off, especially because I've got a tractor in the field next door coming past in a minute, so I'm not sure how long you'll still hear me anyway. Okay, so thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you again later. Hopefully you're all keeping safe. Cheers, bye.